sports.
We are Baltimore. We are LA.
It's time for Angels Spring Training Baseball this afternoon from Tempe Diablo Stadium. The Angels continue their homestand as they host the division rival, the Texas Rangers. We bring you inside Tempe Diablo Stadium. Terry Smith along with Jose Mota for Angels Baseball, Cactus League style here on this Sunday. Jose, the Angels playing a little bit better. A couple of wins back-to-back here in Cactus League play. A guy who will be pitching for the Angels today, making a second start this spring, will be Matt Shoemaker. And for Matt, he's been kind of lukewarm so far this spring.
He has. I think, he's got to go out there today with a mentality that this is a middle-of-the-season type start because his ball has been just staying up in the zone way too much. And I think we go back to last season, Terry, and when he was not good is because he was elevating, maybe trying to amp up. When he's been down, though, as we've seen here in spring training on occasion, he's just fine like everybody else with movement, with velocity going up and down and taking something off of your fastball. You have to be exactly on the spot. The numbers, of course, tell one story. Mike Socha, though, says don't follow these numbers. It's the thin air, sometimes the win, but nonetheless, there we know Matt Shoemaker is better than he's shown, but he needs to be even better today. Hit spots now that he gets a chance to start this ball game and go out there and set up some hitters.
Well, Giovanni Soto will be his catcher today for the Angels. Soto, a newcomer, veteran catcher, and, of course, Carlos Perez certainly in the mix as far as the number one catching spot for the Angels.
Well, consider Mike Socha wants what? Pitcher-catcher's relationship to be the number one priority, but anytime you can add the catchers to the offensive side, they can get a run with one swing, situational hitting, it's all a plus. And so far what we've seen is how nice Carlos and Giovanni are complementing each other. Giovanni, long home run, a 3-run homer a couple of days ago against the Dodgers, and he's been doing a fine job in communicating and learning these new pitchers. And for Carlos, his continuity from last season, he expects to get the bulk of the catching duties this season, but nonetheless, Terry, both of these guys can, at least for you during the regular season, play not so much the power bat, but guys that are good situational hitters.
Well, Jose, in spring training, there are always a lot of stories, and one of them for the Angels, a pleasant surprise, has been G-Man Choi.
A lot of people around here like to say that. G-Man has been outstanding. Every time they've asked him to put together a good at-bat, he's done it. He has shown the ability to work counts, to have an idea about the strike zone, a lot of knowledge, and to use the whole field up the middle with the single. And then when he's looking for something in a favorable hitter's count, he can go deep, not necessarily by pulling the ball, but he's gone the other way as he's done in batting practice. He's put it in practice here in the game. And another note, very important, Mike Socha considers him a bigger asset, hitting only from the left side, so the switch hitting experiment is over.
Yeah, it sure is, but he's been fun to watch, and also he's done a good job with the glove over at first base. Well, maybe a bullpen spot still to be decided as far as the Angels this spring, and there have been some intriguing arms we've had a chance to watch here in the first couple of weeks.
They're all good arms, experienced arms, and guys that come out and throw strikes. So you're talking about a guy that maybe during the regular season comes in if a starter goes short or if somebody needs to get out also and pitch that 6th inning, maybe the 7th at times. But from Diolis Guerra to Javi Guerra to Ramon Ramirez all have experience in doing exactly what's asked of them. Mike Socha says Diolis Guerra, imposing figure who has very decent secondary pitches, and the Angels know they could keep him, but I think Terry Burrell is going to have arms like this. You just cannot have enough arms, not necessarily hard throws, but got to have enough to complement secondary pitches and have an idea on what to do at a big league game.
Well, we didn't mention Al Albuquerque. He figures to get a spot in the Angels bullpen when it's all said and done. A.J. Ochter's a guy that has impressed us as well. He's pitched in the big leagues in the past with the Minnesota Twins. And also kind of an interesting story is Yuniesky Maya.
Maya is a strike thrower. He's not going to be out there missing barrels, but nonetheless, Mike Socha knows the importance of having somebody like Maya, who's already pitched in the big leagues as a starter, to maybe give you a swing man whenever that is needed during the regular season.
Well, we'll see if the Angels stay hot on this Sunday. They're going for their 3rd straight victory here in Cactus League play. It will be Matt Shoemaker on the mound for the Angels. Derek Holland gets the start for Texas. The lineups and the action coming up next on Fox Sports West.
Back at Tempe Diablo Stadium, another outstanding attendance expected here this afternoon. It is beautiful. It is a cool afternoon here in the Valley. Angels and the Texas Rangers. So glad you could join us on our simulcast. Texas Rangers, AL West champions last year, 8-2 record, one tie here in spring training in the Cactus League. Angels 5-6, also one tie. Jeff Bannister, what a year he had for those Rangers. 88 wins last year. Angels finished 3 games behind the Rangers in the West with 85 wins. And the way they line up today for the Rangers, first of all, they come in hitting .334 as a ball club here in spring training. Delino DeShields is in center field leading off. Jurickson Profar back and healthy on the field at shortstop. Mitch Moreland is batting third at first base. Justin Ruggiano, who can absolutely destroy some lefties. He's a designated hitter, batting fourth. Nomar Mazara, he is a sensational young player. He is in right field. Way to see the build. Joey Gallo, also Gallo at third base, batting sixth. Outstanding plus power on this youngster. Robinson Chirinos healthy again from that shoulder issue last year. Chirinos is a catcher batting seventh. Drew Robinson has some power at second base. He is batting eighth. And Drew Stubbs fighting for a spot in the Rangers bench is in left field. The veteran is batting ninth. On the mound is Derek Holland, trying to bounce back this season after one that limited him only to 10 starts last year for the Rangers. For Mike Scioscia and his starting lineup, the Angels starting lineup is brought to you by McDonald's. I am loving it. Yunel Escobar leads off for the Angels at third base. Cole Calhoun moves up to the number 2 slot against the lefty Holland. He's in right field. Mike Trout is in center field batting third. Albert Pujols, a long home run yesterday in the first inning. Pujols is the designated hitter. C.J. Krug moves up to number 5, batting fifth. Crone at first base. Anderson Simmons also moves up to number 6. He is at shortstop. Giovanni Soto, the veteran catcher, is batting seventh. Craig Gentry makes a start for the Angels in left field. A lot of coverage. Good speed out there in the outfield. The former Ranger Gentry. And batting ninth for the Angels, Johnny G. Ovatella. Hopefully, Terry, the continuity we've seen with Shoemaker on the mound for the Angels is one that will have Matt get off to a good start and hopefully build off the first 15 pitches or so.
Yeah, it's been kind of a rough go for him so far. Angels are not alarmed by any stretch, but certainly you'd like to see Shoemaker look a little bit more like himself out there on the mound. Hopefully that'll be the case here today. Today's game is being brought to you by In-N-Out Burger. That's what a hamburger's all about. And as far as today's umpires on this Sunday, Bill Miller will be calling balls and strikes, and along the bases we'll have Rob Drake, Dan Bellino, and Tom Woodring. Dimensions here at Tempe Diablo Stadium. 340 down the left field side, 420 out there to dead center field. It's deep in straightaway center, and it's deep down the right field line as well. 360. The alleys in left center and right center go 400 feet. So Matt Shoemaker, who will make his third appearance this spring. 2 games coming into today, one as a starter, one as a reliever, and 12 hits, 8 earned runs, and 4 home runs allowed in just 5 innings. Shoemaker will get set to face the leadoff man for the Rangers, Delino DeShields. Shields having a good spring. He's 7 for 17 with 4 runs batted in. Rangers coming into this game have won 5 of their last 6 in Cactus League play. Have a good record, 8-2-1. And the first pitch today, that's a little bit low. We're underway. The count, 1 ball, no strikes. 74 degrees here at game time, so it's about 5 degrees warmer than it was for yesterday's ball game here against the Giants. The 1-0. And that misses high. That was a fastball. 2 balls, no strikes on Delino DeShields.
He's got some speed. 10 triples last year for Delino DeShields. He led off for the Rangers 95 games last year. Scored over 80 runs.
Had 25 stolen bases last year. Next pitch. That's right in there for a called strike. DeShields had a season in the minors a few years ago, 2012 season. He stole 101 bases.
Let the man run. That's the good genes from Pops. Lionel Sr.
And the next delivery, that's low, so Shoemaker has missed on 3 of the first 4. And it's 3 balls, 1 strike. The Shields last year, 33 infield hits. Here's the pitch, and that's ball 4. So that's not a good sign for Shoemaker, who's normally a strike thrower. He walks the Shields, and now we'll see if he might be on the move over there at first base.
There's a lot of discipline there for Delino, and a 3-1 hitter's count for somebody who's had a good spring. Not anxious whatsoever. Doing a good job tracking the ball all the way in. Part of what they want him to place into his game a little bit more.
So Profar is the batter. And he's a guy that's hoping to stay healthy here in 2016. Missed all of last year. Shoemaker bluffing the Shields, who has a good-sized lead over at first base.
Profar just wants to make it through a full season, or even start a season.
Yeah.
He has been hampered by injuries. Came up with so much promise, and the Rangers are telling us today they believe he's on his way back.
Yeah, the issue really has been his right shoulder. Switch hitter batting from the left side. Again, a toss over to first base. Diving back to the bag goes the Shield. So he is already drawing attention from Shoemaker.
And he should. He's got a big lead, and he is leaning and still able to get back on a good movement there by Shoemaker.
Matt is ready, taking time. There goes the runner. Pitches a strike, throw to second, and it skips away off the glove of Simmons. It was on the third base side of second, so even had he gotten the ball cleanly, the Angels shortstop, the Shields, was going to be safe. So he steals second base and a runner in scoring position.
There's a difference between getting a little shy and taking your lead after a good pickoff and staying with your lead and making it all look the same whether you're running or not. That's what the Shields does there, and rushing Soto to make a wide throw. Anderson Simmons playing a nice decoy there to make sure the lineup doesn't think about going to third base.
So the count is 0-1 here on Profar. Next pitch. He pops it up on the third base side in foul territory. Escobar can't find it now. Coming over and making the play on that one will be the shortstop Simmons. Boy, he bailed out Escobar, who lost sight of that ball in foul ground on the third base side. That's out number 1.
Good job. Anderson Simmons is not shy to get after pretty much everything in the area and even out of the area that's in the air to bail out his teammates. No sunglasses and a tough sky here today. Those silky hands get it done.
So the batter now is Mitch Moreland. Moreland coming off a very good year last year for these Texas Rangers. Left-handed batter. The Shields at second. A pickoff. And they at second base. Simmons snuck in. They pick off the Shields. Pitcher to shortstop, applying the tag at second.
As a base runner, you're attracting a lot of attention, and Matt Shoemaker's got quick feet. Then he's got Anderson Simmons playing behind him, who is just as quick as any base runner when he's on the field, and just got him great timing all the way around by the Angels.
So now 2 outs, no one on. Situation changes quite a bit.
Well, here's a shift that Mike Scioscia has talked about. He wants to keep Simmons exactly where he belongs, in that shortstop area, instead of moving him to the other side of the bag. As you know, Escobar is a third baseman in short right field.
Well, with everything we've heard about Simmons, he might be able to handle the whole left side of the infield by himself with his range.
We've seen it. Terry, we've heard about it, and now we've seen a lot of it.
That's right. He can handle all 90 feet between second and third base. There's one in there for a called strike on Mitch Moreland. Mentioned big year for him last season. Career highs, batting average, home runs, and runs batted in. 23 homers, 85 RBIs. He hit 278.
He likes to swing the bat.
Only 32 walks last year. So what? 330 on base percentage, and he slugged 482. I still recall, Terry, the day that Mike Napoli, when he was a Ranger, said, we have some big guys and strong guys. This is the strongest guy on a team hitting a baseball right here.
Well, here's the next pitch, and he hit that one sharply, but a foul ball on the first base side.
Like Napoli was saying, Napoli now, well, the Cleveland Indians says, in a home run derby, anywhere I put my money on Mitch Moreland.
Moreland now 30 years old. He's had a homer, 6 RBIs so far this spring. And how about the Angel infield now, Jose, with 2 strikes on him? A 4-man right side.
That's what the book called for.
And that one misses low.
Well, you were saying yesterday that you hadn't seen many shifts. How about that one?
Well, there was not a single fielder on the left side of the infield on that last pitch.
That's just an indication of one or two things. A hitter's count, where you're thinking 3-2 is going to be a good hitter's count for him, looking fastball. Or what he does in tendencies with 2 strikes. Just roll over a lot on the off speed.
So Shoemaker has walked 2 of the 3 that he's faced, but there are 2 outs, a runner at first. Here's Ruggiano, and that is low, and that's going to get Soto out to the mound and have a word with Matt Shoemaker. Usually you don't see Shoemaker walk people. He's now walked 4 so far this spring in 5 2/3 innings.
Mike Socha hoping, along with Charles Nagy, the pitching coach, that he's not as strong in some sense to be up in the zone where you can get hurt.
Here's the next pitch, and that one is low. I'm just trying to think. It's kind of in my head right now when that 3-2 pitch came to Moreland and saw that 4-man right side infield. I don't know that I've seen that from the Angels before.
I have not either.
There wasn't a single defensive player on the left side of the infield.
Just another facet of what shifting is all about.
Here's the next pitch. That's fouled back behind the plate.
It's like the first time we saw a team shift on Mike Trout. Many people thinking there's no way going to shift on this guy. Well, guess what? Tampa Bay Rays, first team to do it. Put everybody on the left side except for the first baseman. And wouldn't you guess? He rolled out to the left side a couple of times. On the way they pitched to him, he hit right into that.
Two and one to count here on Ruggiano. And that one is low.
Winston Ruggiano can absolutely crush left-handed pitching. Last year, 301 against lefties and 83 at-bats. Only 143 against right-handers. And 42 at-bats.
Shoemaker has thrown 17 pitches here in this inning. The ball-strike ratio not good right now. Here's the 3-1, and he walks another batter. So he's faced 4 batters and walked 3 of them, but the pickoff at the moment certainly looms very big here in this inning. They haven't had a ball hit out of the infield yet. And now the next batter will be Nomar Mazaro. He's their right fielder. Young player. He's only 20 years old, and before he sees a pitch, Angels will have a little get-together out at the mound.
I want to see some better command out of that fastball. He's been popping the glove here and there, which is obviously something you don't want to see up in the zone from Shoemaker. And to be able to implement secondary pitches, especially saw him warming up with a slider in between innings before the game started. Something he needs to implement. He's got the curveball and, of course, a split finger, but to be able to get to those pitches, you got to get ahead of hitters more often here.
So Charlie Nagy's visit, the Angels pitching coach with Matt Shoemaker, is wrapped up. Still 2 outs, now 2 on. Mazzara is the batter. He's a young player who has a lot of power. Outfielder, and the pitch, and he tips that one right into the mitt of Soto. 0-1 to count.
Mazzara got one of the highest signing bonuses ever given to a Dominican player.
He's a left-handed hitter, 9 for 17 here in the Cactus League. Homer, 8 RBIs. He's having a good spring, and again, only 20 years old. Here's the pitch. That's in there. Snap throw over to first. Ball got away just a few feet from C.J. Cron. The runner back safely. That's Ruggiano.
As is typical, the Angels looking for other ways to get some outs, as they already got one at second base on a pickoff, and so often it comes from those catchers. You get the word out, Terry, that's going to be happening often with your catchers, Soto and Perez and whoever else comes up. Word gets around very quickly, and you're going to be more tentative on your secondaries, especially.
Joey Gallo, another young player with a lot of power, waiting on deck with 2 outs. Shoemaker's way in front here, and now he steps off the rubber as that lead runner, Mitch Moreland, was off the bag.
Oh, there's a big count for him here with this hitter 0-2. He's got room to work it, but also room to implement something else and give the Rangers another look pitch-wise.
See if he gets him to chase a split here. And the 0-2 delivery, that's low. That was a good block there by Soto. That went in the dirt.
Giovanni himself, a former Ranger for some time, a couple of years back. Made it look very smooth, all starting with the bottom half. Glide into the ball and curve that chest up.
Challenging inning here for Shoemaker. Let's see if he can get through it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Next pitch, and again low, and that one rolled away from Soto, but he retrieves it just outside the batter's circle. So Shoemaker's bouncing in some 2-strike pitches here. The Angels bat in the bottom of the first. We're scoreless at the moment. Escobar, Calhoun, and Trout against Derek Holland, who has come up with a couple wins in his 2 starts so far this spring for Texas. Two outs, 2 on, 2 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch fouled back to the screen. So the count remains level. Around the infield today, C.J. Cron at first, Johnny Giovitella, second baseman, Yunel Escobar at third, and Drolton Simmons, the shortstop. The 2-2. Low again.
They're not biting at all on the splitter right now. Mazar, for a young hitter, I mean, he has seen a lot of pitches so far, and he has not chased at all.
Yeah, he's shown a lot of patience for a 20-year-old.
It's forcing Shoemaker into a fastball here.
So we'll see what happens on the 3-2. Shoemaker's already walked 3 in the inning. And the payoff pitch, he gets him to pop it up foul on the left side, backing out of play.
You can see even there was a missed spot as Soto's giving him that lane in the outer third, and that ball tailed right back over the plate.
Texas Rangers, a franchise with a good farm system, and that's even after trading away a lot of prospects. They sent a boatload of them over to the Phillies last year, and they got Cole Hamels. But this Mazar is a good young outfield prospect. They have another one named Lewis Brinson, who's a very good outfield prospect. Joey Gallo is waiting on deck. He can play third base and the outfield. They have another good young outfielder by the name of Eric Jenkins. So they're deep at that position right now in their system. Next pitch, ripped foul. And that one was in the Angels' dugout for a moment, then ricochets back to the seats. That ball was scorched.
Hope our friend Didi's fine out there from our TV production crew. Some guys unfazed by it. Good thing for that railing, man.
Long inning here for Shoemaker in the top of the first.
Here comes pitch number 27.
It's a full count with 2 outs. Runners on the move. Payoff pitch. He got him. Struck him out. After all that, Shoemaker pitches a scoreless inning. No runs in the inning. There were no hits, 3 walks, and they leave a pair. Half inning completed. No score in Tempe on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. We go to the bottom of the first inning. Seemed like we were never going to get here, but we're here, and it's scoreless. That's even better.
That's right. Here we are. 27 pitches later, 3 walks, a pickoff. Nice play by Simmons. 2 of them in the way by Simmons. Anderson making a difference with 2 outs in that inning for Shoemaker.
So here is Escobar leading off against Holland, and the first delivery, that's low, ball 1. You know, Escobar, Cole Calhoun, and Mike Trout, the first 3 for the Angels against the 29-year-old lefty. Here's the next pitch, and that's a fastball high. So 2-0 the count. Holland's delivery, he misses, and now it's 3-0. So Matt Shoemaker struggled with his control in the first inning, and Holland has missed on 3 straight against the first batter he's facing here in the first. Next pitch in there for a called strike. Derek Holland last year only 58 2/3 innings with the Texas Rangers, and his next pitch, that misses. So that's a 5-pitch walk. And the Angels leadoff man is on, and Cole Calhoun, who's hitting out of the 2-hole, will be the next batter.
As Janelle Escobar gets to learn more about these American League pitchers. We did a very fine job there being patient with Derek Holland, who he should see a lot of on the AL West. It's not as novelty as it used to be, Terry, obviously, with the Interleague nowadays and how year to year divisions face each other in the National League, American League, but certainly you're going to see somebody very often. There's a quick study we have to do.
Here's the next pitch, and it's the first one on Cole Calhoun for a called strike. Talked about Holland not throwing many innings last year. Really, over the last 2 seasons, that's been the case. Just 95 2/3 innings for him over the last 2 years. And he was sidelined going back to 2014 with a knee problem. Had left knee surgery. And then last season had problems with his pitching shoulder. There's a toss over to first base. The knee injury that he suffered a couple years ago, back in January 2014, one of those strange baseball injuries He fell on the stairs at his home when his dog was in the way.
Man.
Here's the pitch. That's outside. 1 ball, 1 strike on Cole Calhoun.
Yes, Holland only 10 starts last year, 1 complete game, but he made a start on April 10th that lasted 1 inning, 9 pitches. Then he was done until August 19th.
Lefty-lefty matchup. Pitch on Cole. Inside. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Mike Soja has got out and said, yes, the word is out. This is the look he wants against left-handed pitchers. Calhoun moving up from the number 5 into the number 2 and able to slot C.J. Cronin to the number 5 against left-handers. Hopefully it'll work, produce some runs, and stay throughout the regular season.
Here's the 2-1. Fouled off on the left side, out of play.
Terry, one thing we saw too last season with Calhoun and against lefties, his production fell. And Calhoun usually very solid when facing left-handed pitchers. But the word got out very quickly last year as to how to approach him, and his average seriously dipped against southpaws from what had been a career steady average against lefties.
So that's a part of his game that he'll be looking to improve on here in 2016. Next pitch, chopped on the right side of the infield. It's handled there by Robinson, goes to second, and it's in time to get Escobar. So they get the lead runner out at second on the 4-6 fielder's choice, and Mike Trout the next batter. Trout having a very good spring. 8 for 16 home runs, 6 runs batted in.
Every day here in camp, he is the attraction. The expected arrival when he takes the field for stretching, Terry, when he takes the field for his pregame sprints and first at bat, always pretty special.
First one on Trout, low.
Terry, it's one of those things that as broadcasters, we have been so blessed to see this kid from the time he first came up and to watch him go about his business. Every single day he plays the game the same way.
Here's the pickoff toss over to first base. The runner there is Cole Calhoun. He gets back.
Mike was telling me, you know, first couple seasons, he says the biggest compliments I got from veteran players is what meant the most to me about respecting the game and playing the game right. But you're not entitled to anything. He goes, I took that to heart. Never took that for granted. So many veteran players saying thank you for the way you play the game. And you cannot ask for a better compliment from guys that have been around the league way longer and they have done a lot before you got there.
Trout growing up in New Jersey was a big Derek Jeter fan, although not a Yankee fan, but he really liked Jeter and he liked the way he played. He's kind of patterned his game after his childhood idol. And of course, going back to his first taste in the big leagues with the Angels, his mentor obviously in that Angel clubhouse was Torrey Hunter, who kind of took Mike under his wing, taught on the ropes, so to speak, as far as being a major league ball player.
No doubt.
I hope sometime this season we'll see Torrey kind of pop in at the Big A just to say hello. I wouldn't doubt he'll show up sometime during the course of the season.
Torrey already made a big impression in Twins camp as a guest coach.
And he's also going to have his number retired by the Minnesota Twins this season ceremony at Target Field. That's a pretty high honor for a guy who played last year.
No kidding. There's a Mike Trout. Let it fly 3-1 here.
Here's the pitch, and that's ball 4. So both starters having control issues here in the first inning. We've already had 5 walks in this game. 3 by Shoemaker in the top of the inning. 2 already by Holland against the 3 that he's faced.
Well, after so many years watching Mike Maddox run to that mound with the Texas Rangers, now Doug Brocail has taken over as their new pitching coach, amongst other changes the Rangers have made to their staff. Long-time big leaguer, Doug Brocail. Great teacher.
Mention Mike Maddox. He's now the pitching coach with Don Mattingly, part of Isn't that right? Is he with the Marlins? It's in the National League, Marlins or Nationals?
Nats.
Yeah, it's with the Nationals.
He's over with Dusty.
That's right, he's with the Nationals. Here's the pitch. Chopped on the left side. Great stop by Profar, but throws wildly to third base. And that ball is going to go in the dugout, so the runners will get an extra base. Coming in and scoring will be Cole Calhoun. Well, Profar made a spectacular stop on that, but an ill-advised throw to third base. It was nowhere close to Gallo. So the Angels get on the board. It's 1-0, and now runners at second and third. And the next batter will be Albert Pujols.
Also all the way by the runner Calhoun sliding in that inside part, and then that throw that happens to just run into the dugout. Of course, allows the rule to dictate where everybody's going to end up.
Crone will be stepping up. Albert's the runner at second with Trout at third. Albert on that ball that Profar stopped, or going to just score a fielder's choice. He could have had a hit on that.
I agree. Profar saw that as a hit. That's why he didn't throw to first base.
Right.
But again, a clean throw to third base is an out.
Here's the pitch on Crone, and that one is low.
Well, Terry playing to what Mike Scioscia wanted. Here it is. Base runners for C.J. Crone against the lefty batting fifth.
Trout's at third, Pujols at second. And the pitch. That one misses.
So 27 pitches for Shoemaker in that first inning, 3 walks. And here comes pitch number 20 for Holland.
And the walks in the inning have hurt him. The Angels haven't had a hit, but have scored a run. Here's the pitch. And this is lifted way up in the air into shallow left field. Doesn't appear to be deep enough to get the runner in, and Trout will have to hold at third base. Shallow fly out to Drew Stubbs, the left fielder.
Oh, so many times we talk about changing eye levels only in the fastball, but there's so many things you can do with your breaking ball. And especially, you might make a mistake early in the count with something spinning up around the letters, and before you know it, the second one you throw that you adjust and put a tighter spin on it is much more effective and does not allow a hitter like Crone to square it up. That's one last example right there.
So we'll see if Simmons can come through. Simmons, the Angels shortstop, batting for the first time today. 5 for 19 this spring. First pitch bounced over the mound out near second. Stopped though by Robinson. His throw to first is in time. Boy, when that left the bat and got by the mound, it looked like it had a shot to get in, but it's a 4-3 ground out. So Angels were hoping for more, have to settle for 1 run without any hits in the inning. We're headed to the second. 1-0 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Joey Gallo is the first batter up for the Rangers. It's 1-0 Angels, second inning. First pitch, swing and a miss.
Oh, he will do that. He'll let it fly. It's one of those players that at some point of his career, people are just going to come watch him to see that huge swing and how far he can hit a baseball, which he's done already, of course.
Next pitch, and there's one that is absolutely blasted down the right field side and gone. Well, you were talking about his power, Jose, and it was on display right there. Wow.
He's not at home plate to make contact. He is out there to just absolutely crush a baseball, and he just did again.
That ball hit way over 400 feet.
That's 5 home runs now allowed by Matt Shoemaker. Pitch right down the middle.
So it's a 1-1 ball game, and this copyrighted broadcast presented by Authority of Angels Baseball may not be reproduced, retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the expressed written consent of Angels Baseball. I've had a lot of action already here early in this game, but that was the first hit in the game.
How about that?
Yeah. And it was way out of Tempe Diablo Stadium. It's a pitch that's low. 2-0 the count on Chirinos, the catcher. Hit .232 with the Rangers a year ago, 10 home runs. And the next pitch, that one is inside. Here's the next delivery. That's outside, and after the home run, a 4-pitch walk. So, boy, oh boy, Shoemaker has faced 7 batters, walked 4 of the 7, and one of the other hitters has had a home run.
Yeah, quite obvious something is just out of sync with his delivery. It could be that he might be rushing, may be thinking about results before getting through the process first. We have a couple of news items for Angels fans. Garrett Richards threw an early game today against the Diamondbacks. A B game, 4 innings, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts, 52 pitches.
There's one a little bit low.
And as the schedule changes, pretty much is just to try to keep Garrett on his regular days. Remember that Matt Shoemaker and Hector Santiago have been throwing Terry on the same day. So good outing for Richards against the D-backs again. 10:30 a.m. Love those games. 4 innings, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts, 52 pitches. And then the news on Jared Weaver.
Weaver is supposed to head back to L.A. tomorrow to visit a spine specialist. One ball, no strikes on Drew Robinson, who played Double-A, Triple-A last year. He's a batter that has good power. He hit 21 home runs in the minors a year ago. Left-handed batter.
Back to Weaver. He has been diagnosed with mild degenerative changes in cervical spine. And as Terry mentioned, back to L.A. He will miss his scheduled start here on Monday, but he has been playing catch with some limitations here so far.
Yeah, we saw him do it earlier this morning here at Tempe Diablo. He was playing catch with Skaggs. Here's a fly ball lifted into left field, battling the sun out there is Gentry, and he makes the catch. Craig Gentry, a former Ranger. So that's the first out. Runner at first base. Drew Stubbs, the next hitter. Stubbs spent some time last year with Texas, reserve outfielder for them. He was also with the Rockies last year and hit just .195. This was a guy who was an everyday player for several years in the big leagues. Was with the Reds.
He's got some tools that are useful for the Rangers at this point.
Toss to first, back to the bag goes the base runner, and that is Chirinos.
Stubbs, good speed, good range. Cutting down on Ks will be a big added plus for him, obviously.
a 2020 guy in the big leagues back in the 2010 season.
He came in with a bang. It was only his first full season in the big leagues. It was Cincinnati.
There's a pitch that's low.
He's stolen as many as 40 bases. That happened back in 2011. But also the strikeouts are way up there.
And that 2011 season, 205 strikeouts. Led the majors that year. Shoemaker with the count. 1 ball, no strikes. He's behind just about every hitter. And the next pitch, that's fouled off on the right side out of play. And when Shoemaker is behind people, that's a real bad sign for him because he usually throws strikes.
He's usually a guy that's going to be spreading the zone early and making you chase and implementing more of those secondary and third pitches early in the count when he's got better command, which obviously has been lacking here throughout the spring.
Here's the next pitch. Runner at first goes. Pitch is missed. Throw down to second. Waiting with the tag is Giavotella. And gunned down right there easily is Chirinos. That was kind of interesting strategy right there because you have the catcher running and a swing and miss guy at the plate.
Yeah. It's Chirinos looking inside. Obviously, it was a hit and run play. And one of the things that maybe Jeff Bannister's trying to do there is trying to cut the swing of Drew Stubbs. Great pitch to throw on, and Giovanni Soto throws a strike.
Well, that throw was there in a hurry. 2 outs, 1-2 delivery. He checks on that one. Did he go around? No. 2-2.
And Giovanni Soto, as we talk about him, as Angels pitchers, Terry have told us during camp, they have to get used to the way Soto throws the ball back to them. It's a very unique way, which he goes to both knees and then releases the ball.
And there's a called third strike, and out looking is Stubbs. That will end the inning. Second strikeout in the game for Shoemaker, but the tying run in for the Rangers here in the second. The leadoff homer by Gallo. It's 1-1 as we go to the bottom of the second on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox. In the bottom of the second, first batter is Giovanni Soto, who takes the first pitch from Holland for strike one, and the next delivery. This is chopped out to the shortstop. Profar is there. His throw is in time to Moreland. And one quick out here in the Angels' second. Craig Gentry, like Soto, another former Ranger playing for the Angels today. Gentry's first at bat. We'll check out the out-of-town scoreboards brought to you by Dodge and the Dodge Challenger. With an estimated 30 miles per gallon highway, this car was made for driving. Visit Dodge.com. And a lot of finals to run down in the Florida Grapefruit League today. There's one low and inside.
Tell me about the Orioles.
The Orioles were clobbered by the Minnesota Twins today, 14-5. So Baltimore's problems in the Grapefruit League continue. Trevor Plouffe had a home run for the Twins, who scored those 14 runs today. Hank Conger had a home run for a Tampa Bay split squad. They beat Boston 13-5. There's a called strike. And the other Tampa Bay split squad lost to Toronto 6-1. Jose Bautista with a home run for Toronto in their win.
Hey, Bautista's been having fun with the mascots around baseball. How about that? Keeping it loose in spring training.
Had some fun with the Philly Fanatic the other day. Pirates over the Tigers 9-5. Starling Marte, a home run for Pittsburgh. Angels will play the Pirates this year in interleague play. And the next pitch, that's fouled off by Gentry on the right side, out of play. Mets blank Miami 11-0. And the Marlins had only 3 hits in that game. Matt Harvey, solid outing for the Mets. 4 innings, 1 hit allowed, no runs, 4 strikeouts. Phillies beat the Yankees 3-0. CC Sabathia was hit hard in that game. Inning and 2/3, gave up 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned. And Washington beat St. Louis, that game ended up in a tie. 4-4 was the final in that one. There's one foul back behind the plate. Our game, it's 1-1. And we're only in the bottom of the 2nd inning.
You mentioned the Angels at Pittsburgh. That'll happen June 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Before the Angels continue on to the Yankees for a 4-game series in New York. Terry, there's some good people in Pittsburgh.
That's right.
Great sports town.
Here's the next delivery, lined into left field, but right at the left fielder, Drew Stubbs. He hardly had to move at all.
They knew that former Ranger and the way they had the left fielder shifted into that gap.
Here's Johnny Giavotella. Mentioned Pittsburgh and their sports fans. Good sports city. Your dad used to play a little bit for the Pirates.
Yes, he did. Came up with the Giants. Out for the Pirates, or he played with the great Roberto Clemente, among others. Willie Stargell and company.
So Holland is ready, and here's the first one on Giavotella with 2 outs. That's in there for a called strike.
Some solid Pirates teams, Terry, through the years at Forbes Field.
Holland is ready, and here's the next one on Giavotella. He cuts to that one and fouls it off on the right side. Fans, be a winner and play in the Gardens Casino new Omaha Progressive Jackpot. Visit thegardenscasino.com for more info, and please play responsibly. Rangers have a run on a hit. Angels have a run, no hits. Here's the 2-strike pitch, and that came in on Giavotella. Foul tips it back to the screen.
Terry, you had an interesting idea in terms of mixing in the lineup. Sometimes maybe a Johnny G batting second.
Well, that might be a option. The Angels are trying to find a number 2 hole hitter.
Daniel Nava so far has absolutely shined all spring. He's a good fit.
And that one on Giavotella is a little bit low.
But as lineups go, you move one guy and it's automatically a different lineup. And Mike Swisher used 125 lineups last year. Ned Yost used 83 for the world champions.
There's one low.
That happens when people stay healthy too.
So just about half the time last season, the world champions used the same lineup.
Extremely productive.
Two and two on Johnny Giavotella as Holland delivers. That's low and inside. So Giavotella, who's usually swinging the bat, has worked a full count. Holland walked 2 of the first 3 batters he faced in this ball game.
Hey, Johnny, look at that flag. Ideal flag blowing out that wind across from right to left. Swing hard.
Here's the 3-2. Grounded sharply, but right to third. It's handled by Gallo, and his throw is right on the money. And it's a clean inning for the Texas starter, Derek Holland. Third inning is coming up. 1-1 the score on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports Web. Third inning we go. It's a 1-1 ball game. Fans take part in the Angels 5K and Fun Run. It's presented by St. Joseph Hoag Health. It'll be held on the 9th of April at the Big A. All participants will receive a commemorative shirt and a finisher's medal. Register today at angels.com/5K. The Shields was showing bunt, ends up taking the pitch for a strike. Rangers leadoff man walked his first time up. Escobar third playing in. And there's a called strike. It's 0-2. Well, I know the Shields ended up being a good acquisition for these Texas Rangers, who got him as a Rule 5 draftee. And there's a pitch that is going to get him. Struck him out on 3 pitches.
He seems a little flustered going back to that dugout saying, I didn't see any of that in my first at bat, and I saw more pitches. Nice job adjusting there by Matt Shoemaker. Got him to commit. That's the main thing. Fastball command will allow you to set up hitters and make him commit to bad pitches.
Yep. Got him on a split finger, it looked like. So here's Profar. And the switch hitter cuts it that one and lifts it high in the air into shallow left center field. Backpedaling is Simmons, the shortstop. He'll make the grab. So 2 quick outs. Shoemaker's retired 4 in a row going back to last inning. Mitch Moreland will be the next batter.
There's a little incentive added to taking something out of this fastball, and we're seeing it at play here. Terry, sometimes Shoemaker at 92. It's not the same guy. He's better off at 88, 89 with some movement. There's scores. You know, human nature. You amped up. You want to throw harder, and the ball gets there, and you don't think about letting or holding back because that's what you have that particular day. You talk to the great ones, and they'll say, "Hey, sometimes just a little less, just a little less, little separation, more movement, sacrifice it, but get a feel for it."
First one was in there on Moreland, and here he takes a big cut and fouls that one back behind the plate. So the count's no balls, 2 strikes. Angels have the shift on. Kind of wondering if they would go 4 infielders right side now with 2 strikes on them, but
they didn't do it this time.
No, Simmons is still on the left side.
But again, last time it was a 3-2. And that chart and spray chart must be saying something 3-2 that is not telling you 0-2.
Here's the 2-strike pitch. Chopped on the right side. That's a fair ball. It's fielded by Crone. Flips to Shoemaker. Gets to the bag in time. And a quick clean inning for Matt Shoemaker. So here in the top of the third, 3 up, 3 down. Bottom of the third is next. 1-1 in Tempe on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox. Yunel Escobar, batter number 1 for the Angels. Bottom of the third in a 1-1 game. Pitch fouled back behind the plate. And the count, no balls and 1 strike.
So he walked him first at bat, and Yunel got to see a lot of pitches. Yunel, how about a first pitch changeup from Derek Holland? Got him smiling out there.
Holland's ready. Here's his next one. And did he go around on that? No. On the appeal, they say that Escobar was holding. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Escobar, like Trout, Adrian Beltre, Miguel Cabrera, himself as a hitter, saying, go ask him.
Here's Holland's next pitch. In there, called strike. 1-2.
He's been calling that pitch. Bill Miller has been giving that to Shu and has been giving it to Derek Holland.
Holland has a good arm. In the past, his fastball topped out around 96. He's going right. He gets a lot of fly ball outs. There's one that's low and in. 2-2 the count.
Terry, you were telling the story about the dog and how he slipped and hurt his knee.
Right.
The dog is fine, too.
The dog survived.
The dog is fine.
The dog probably ended up in better shape than Holland.
It did.
Because he hasn't pitched much since that injury over the last couple of years. Here's one line to second, and making the stop on it is the second baseman, Drew Robinson. Low line drive, almost was down on one knee when he caught that one.
Good adjustment there by Escobar. Makes him a dangerous hitter as he saw some changeups, saw some off speeds. He sees a fastball in and stays right through the box.
So Holland, after getting off to a little bit of a shaky start with his control, has retired the last 6 in a row. Angels have yet to get a hit, although it's a 1-1 game. Here's Cole Calhoun. Low ball 1. Let's pause for stations to identify themselves on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. On the next pitch to Cole Calhoun on a 1-0. He just blooped one into center field. That's going to be the Angels' first hit of the day. So a single for Calhoun, and now Trout will bat. 1 out, 1 on.
You know, that type of swing and approach is what made Calhoun dangerous against lefties before last season, as we were talking about the decline in his numbers. not afraid to let that ball get deeper, and as he lets it get deeper, the many proportions of sliders he will see, well, he's able to hit better, square better, because he's allowing that ball to travel.
Here's the pitch on Trout, and he lifts one high and deep into right center field. Chasing after it is the right fielder, and he'll make the grab on that one, as circling under it out there in right center was Nomar Mazara, and that's out number 2. Trout got under it just a bit, still gave it a pretty good ride, but a routine play.
That fastball had enough of a tail from Derek Holland. Trout not to square it up.
There's Albert Pujols. He was at the plate when he hit a ball that Profar stopped the shortstop, which ended up scoring the Angels' run in the first inning. Angels scored that run without a hit. Calhoun, the 2-out base runner at first, and the pitch on Albert in there for a called strike.
And the shift is on here against Albert. Rangers know a lot about Albert Pujols by now. Amazing thing about the Rangers, Terry, winning the division. They played sub 500 baseball against the West.
Here's the pitch. That's fouled off on the right side. That's going to get back and out of play.
In fact, the Angels had their number 12-7 against the Angels. Angels against the Rangers, and they didn't hit the ball all that well against the Angels. 228 as a team, including hitting only 214 at Angel Stadium. At the end, it didn't matter.
The last 2 years, the Angels are 26-12 against Texas. 2-strike delivery. That's fouled off on the left side.
And they were one of the good stories in baseball. They were pretty much ridden off by many after the first month when they started 7-14.
Rangers really bounced back 2014 season, had the worst record in the American League, and then a year later last year they won the division in the AL West. Here's the pitch. That's low and inside.
I know how many calls you get sometimes on the postgame show about how many wins is it going to take?
Right.
Who's going to win what? And 92, is it 95? Is it? And many people would not have chosen 88 wins to win the division last year.
That's all the Rangers had. That was good enough to win the division.
That's all that matters. 1 better than the Astros. 3 better than the Angels.
Get a toss over to first, and back to the bag goes the base runner. That's Cole Calhoun.
So after that 7-14 start in April, they went 19-11 in May, 14-13 in June. Then they dropped to 10-14 in July, where they had a team ERA of 6.2. But then they went 36-20 in August and September, and that pretty much got it done.
Here's one, line to third, jumping up and catching it is Gallo. Not sure if he had a jump or not, but that ball got on him before he could even blink, and he holds on that vicious line out to end the inning. So the Angels fairly quiet here in the third, although getting their first hit in the game. We are 3-3, and we head to the fourth here in Tempe. It's a 1-1 game, Angels and Rangers on the Angels Baseball Radio Network. And Matt Shoemaker begins his fourth inning, and the first pitch on Ruggiano was low for ball one. Ruggiano, Mazzara, and Gallo. Middle third of the batting order for Texas. A 1-1 ball game here in Tempe. These two teams meeting for the first time this spring. And that pitch misses low. Two balls, no strikes.
Those Rangers will be part of the Angels' first homestand here in 2016.
That's right.
Right after the Chicago Cubs. Opening night in the Big A, April 4th against the Cubs, followed by another 7:05 start on Tuesday. Then after a Wednesday, April 6th off, the Rangers are in for 4 games at the Big A.
Here's the next pitch. It's a called strike. So it's now 2-2 on Ruggiano. Next Sunday, the Angels will play the Rangers once again, and that will be on the road in Surprise. It's blowing outside. So full count. Shoemaker has walked 4 in the game, struck out 3, and here comes the payoff pitch. He got him looking. Struck him out. Ruggiano is out number 1, and Shoemaker now has found himself out there on the mound. He's retired the last 6 in a row.
Oh, what a difference. Spotting the fastball can do for him. Now he's got some Rangers hitters thinking about what might be coming next, but location has been a key in that. Fastball is now moving, as it should. He's up to 54 pitches.
So here is Mazzara, and there's a shot right up the middle. That one kind of had Shoemaker dancing. He put the glove down, but it didn't find the glove, and it bounces on out to Trout. So 1 out hit. Second hit for the Rangers today.
So Mazzara showed a lot of maturity in going out there after so many pitches that he saw in that first at bat when he eventually ended up striking out. But simplify that swing, shorter to the baseball. He saw what the fastball had been doing in the previous hitters right in front of him and got right to it, right back to work.
He looks like he has a chance to be a pretty good player.
Yeah, he was the Tom Grieve Rangers Minor League Player of the Year last year. In 2015, he also represented the Rangers organization at the Sirius XM All-Star Futures game. He's got presence.
Here's Gallo set to bat. And first pitch on Joey Gallo hit a deep home run to right field his first time up. He takes that one for a ball. It's 1 ball, no strikes. Here's the deal for Angel fans. $19.95 gets you Proactive plus a rotating deep cleansing brush. It's valued at $45. You're guaranteed to get clear and stay clear, or you'll get your money back. Call 1-800-644-5944. It's 1-800-644-5944. Here's the next pitch, and it's hit pretty well into center field, but Trout has a beat on it. He's under, and he'll make the grab. That's the second out. 7 of the last 8 retired by Shoemaker, and the batter is Chirinos.
Tough sky out there for Mike Trout and the rest of the outfielders here so far. Trout did a good job getting behind that baseball and, of course, anticipating perhaps that maybe the Rangers might want to test his arm. Something hit that deep. Get behind the ball, and immediately that alarm goes off on the base runners and the coaches saying, well, he's going to get some momentum. Better put on the brakes.
Shoemaker working with 2 outs. Runner at first. 1-1 game here in the 4th. Pitch is fouled back to our right. Upstairs, out of play.
Since yesterday, Terry, we've noticed a lot of communication more in between batters and between pitches between Trout and Ron Renicky, who again is moving Trout a little bit to his right. Dino Ebel, always involved with positioning. And Cole Calhoun playing in more now, too.
It beat me to the punch right there. He is a little more shallow than we normally see him. Here's the next pitch. It's popped in the air infield. Should be an easy play to end the inning, and it'll be C.J. Cron who makes the catch with Dave Vitello right beside him. Good inning for Matt Shoemaker as he retires 3 of 4 here in the 4th. Bottom of the 4th next. We're tied at 1 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports. C.J. Cron will lead things off. Angels set to bat, bottom of the fourth in a 1-1 ball game. Derek Holland still in there for the Rangers, getting ready for his fourth inning. And the first pitch, that one's a little bit low. 1 ball, no strikes. Those starters have retired 8 of the last 9 they've faced. They've settled down, and here's a ground ball deep in the hole. It's short, long throw by Profar for the outfield grass, and he gets it there to Nick Crone for the first out.
Fine play by the youngster, and a tough hop there to the very end, but Profar with the soft hands works that glove down up. Able to grab, secure, and get over the top. That's a welcome sight for Rangers fans. A healthy Profar.
Simmons, the batter, in this 1-1 ball game here in the bottom of the fourth. Score update, it's brought to you by Experian. Get serious about your credit by visiting Experian.com. There's a pitch low and in. Simmons grounded out his first time up. Hollins allowed only 1 hit. That was a blue single by Cole Calhoun with 1 out last inning. There's ball 2. It's low. 2-0 the count. Derek Holland mentioned last 2 years hasn't really pitched much, under 100 innings over the last 2 seasons. He's still well respected in that Texas clubhouse.
And beloved in all the Dallas metro area. Really involved with so many causes all year long.
2-1. That's ripped, and that's a ball that skips off the glove, and Gallo jumped up and tried to nab that liner. Breaking for second is Simmons, and he is out. Stubbs got the throw to second to Robinson, and trying for a hustle double with Simmons, but they get him. He'll get a single on him, but he's out at second base.
It's a good play on both ends, and for Simmons is to force the issue and try to get that perfect throw in, which happened. But for Stubbs is to getting to the baseball and throwing a strike on the line to second base, and maybe showing the Rangers a little bit more about his game.
So here's Soto with 2 outs, nobody on. And he hits one high in the air and hits it well in the left field. Going back is Stubbs, still going back, and that one is out of here. He snuck it over the wall as Stubbs ran out of room. Soto has hit his second home run this spring. Angels are on top. It's 2-1.
I'll tell you what, you and I talked about it in the TV Open about Soto and what dimension he brings to the Angels with his veteran leadership behind the plate, but also the bat, which exploded last year with the White Sox for 9 home runs and under 200 at-bats. As a reserve, tremendous job, and hopefully this will continue on throughout the regular season where he is a presence with Carlos Perez on the offensive side.
So the Angels back on top for the second time in this game. A 2-1 lead here with 2 outs in the fourth. Gentry, the batter, first pitch a ball on him. And the next delivery, that's in there for a strike. Here's the next pitch. It's lifted in the air, shallow center field. The Shields coming in, also going back and making a nice catch on that one is Robinson, the second baseman. He makes the grab in shallow center, and that will end the inning. But the Angels do get a run to regain the lead. Had 2 hits in the inning. And as we get set to move to the fifth, it's 2-1 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports Web. Angels make a pitching change as we head to the top of the 5th inning. Cam Bedrosian will replace Matt Shoemaker. And as Bedrosian works, he'll be appearing in his 5th game this spring, a 1-1 record, 4 innings of work. He's given up 6 hits and 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. So Shoemaker, the starter, went 4 innings. He allowed 2 hits, a run earned, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, and he gave up a home run. Angel fans, enjoy Angel spring training in beautiful Tempe for as low as $15 per seat. Visit angels.com/spring to purchase your tickets today. So the first batter that Bedrosian will be facing will be the number 8 hitter. And that is Drew Robinson, who made that nice running catch to end the Angels' bottom of the 4th. The second baseman making that play in shallow center field off the bat of Gentry. Here's the first pitch on Robinson, and he cuts it that one and misses it for strike 1. Robinson, a young player that the Rangers like. 21 homers, 14 stolen bases a year ago between AA and AAA.
He was shown today just his athleticism at second base.
There's a pitch in there for a called strike.
You go up and down that line, Terry, and you're mentioning some of those outfield prospects, but they have prospects pretty much everywhere.
Yep. And that was after that trade with the Phillies. Mentioned that earlier for Cole Hamels. They gave up about a handful of prospects in that deal to get him.
And it paid off. Hamels went 7-1 for the Rangers in 12 starts. Cole Hamels was Cole Hamels.
Here's the pitch from Bedrosian, and that's nowhere close. That was high and away. So it's 1-2.
An encouraging finish, Terry, for Matt Shoemaker.
Yeah, it was, because you look at the first 6 batters he faced. He walked 3 of them and gave up a home run to 1 of them. And then after that, found himself pretty much a different outcome for him. There's a pitch that's cut on and missed by Robinson. He was fooled on that one, struck him out.
Well, guess who brought that breaking ball over on that first batter? Little Bedrock. It's a good job setting up for another hitter, young hitter, to commit because of that good fastball they have to respect. Nice tight breaking ball there.
Rangers have action in their bullpen, so a tip-off that Holland's day, their starter, it might be over. So we'll see who pitches for them when we get to the bottom of the 5th inning. Bedrosian is ready, and here comes the pitch. Stubbs takes low and away. Angels trying to continue stringing some wins together. They've won the last 2 here in the Cactus League and scored 17 runs in those 2 ball games. This one a little bit lower scoring at the moment. We'll see how it all shakes out.
You got to tip your hat to Matt Shoemaker and how things started and how they ended up with these numbers.
Here's one hit to Simmons deep in the hole. It's short. One hop throw just a little bit late to first base. Stubbs can run. He has good speed, and he lakes out an infield single.
Tough play all the way around when somebody like Stubbs has that momentum going towards first base, that high hopper. Well, your bats are ahead of you, and then all that first step quickness is to your advantage. A one hopper by Simmons. Stubbs too fast. So 2 shortstops from Curacao here today, and Simmons and Profar.
Little meeting going on at the mound. Soto out there to talk to Bedrosian. Simmons in that discussion along with Giavotella. And fans, don't forget, if your computer is running slow, go to mycleanpc.com. Get a free computer diagnosis. In minutes, you can activate MyCleanPC software to clean out the junk that may be slowing down your computer. You can visit mycleanpc.com. Here's the pitch. Called strike outside part of the plate on to Shields, who's had a walk and a strikeout. Infield at double play depth. Bedrosian is ready as he gets the sign from Soto and now bluffs the runner at first base. That's Stubbs.
Yeah, you say that Delano DeShields last season in the regular season hit into one double play.
Here's the 0-1. The Angels pitch out. Nothing doing.
Not a bad idea here with Soto, who knows a lot about this division. Good speed at first base. You have a contact hitter at the plate. Just keep the awareness going from you and directing that traffic out in the middle infield specialist.
Stubbs continues to have a good-sized lead at first. Not running, though. The pitch, it's bounced out near second. Giavotella gets the ball on his glove and shovels the ball over to Simmons, and they force out Stubbs. Nice play, as it turns out, by Giavotella. He was not going to have any shot if he tried to pick it up with his throwing hand, his right hand, so he just kind of pushed the ball with his glove over to Simmons for the out.
Johnny has the ball bounce off of him and stay close enough where he knows if I get it near that bag, I know Anderson will be there at some point with a quick feet stepping on it to get the out. But it's a ball that Johnny knows he should have fielded a little cleaner.
So that'll be a 4-6 fielder's choice. The speedy DeShields now at first base. His lead a little bit bigger than Stubbs, and there he goes. The pitch is strike, throw down to second. Got him! Soto guns him down, and that will end the inning. That's the second runner that Giovanni Soto is gunned down at second base. So that will end the inning, and not much happening as it turns out for the Rangers once they got some people on at first base in the inning. We're headed to the bottom of the fifth. The Angels are up by a run, 2-1 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network. And new pitcher for Texas as Derek Holland will leave. Their starter worked 4 innings, allowed 3 hits, a couple runs earned, 2 walks, no strikeouts, gave up a home run. And the new pitcher is Texas reliever Sam Dyson, who spent time with the Rangers and the Marlins last year. Overall 75 appearances, a 5-4 record, good ERA of 2.63.
It's one of those guys that complimented their roster when they needed it and flew under the radar, and he was absolutely terrific.
First pitch on Giavotella in there. Dyson has a good arm. We saw him hit 98 miles per hour last year. And there's one that's low and away. He'll throw a fastball. He has a curveball and a changeup. Averaged just about a strikeout an inning last season. When he's going right, he'll get a lot of ground ball outs.
With that power arm, Terry, that's a plus.
Yep. There's a strike on the outside corner.
There may be times when the power arm may not be there velocity-wise and maybe a couple miles an hour lower, but he can still go out there and have some early contact outs.
One and two is the count on Johnny Giavotella. He goes after that one, fouls it back to our right upstairs, out of play.
Dyson originally 4th rounder in 2010 by the Toronto Blue Jays. Made his Major League debut back in 2012 in July. Out of the University of South Carolina.
Here's the 1-2. That's low. Good stop by the catcher Chirinos, although no one on base. We've yet to get the attendance, but a nice crowd here. I don't know if we have quite as many as yesterday. We had 9,600 plus here, but another very big crowd at Tempe Diablo Stadium today.
And another nice and cool afternoon here in the Valley.
Here's the next pitch. Bounced on the left side, a foul ball. Everything's all synced up with the clocks now as far as Arizona and back in Southern California, Jose. There's not the 1 hour time difference anymore.
Everything is back in the flow.
That's right.
I'm sure at some point somebody had a mishap here and there, but not here in Arizona.
There's a 2-2. That one misses. So 3 balls and 2 strikes on Giavotella. Escobar is waiting on deck.
Fastball pitcher. Good count here for Johnny G. Was very aggressive.
And the payoff, he lines one into center field. The Shields is there waiting, though, and that will retire Giavotella. That ball is hit hard, but right at the center fielder. 1 out. Escobar, the batter, he's lined out and walked. Fans, don't forget, spring training baseball is live with MLB.com @BAT app. Stay connected all spring with radio broadcasts, video highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com @BAT, the #1 app for live baseball on your smartphone and tablet. So right-hander against right-hander as Escobar waits the pitch and swings and misses that breaking ball low and away.
Terry, you had a chance to visit with the mayor today? Not the mayor of Phoenix, but the mayor, Sean Casey.
That's right. Some of the MLB Network folks were in town profiling Angel Camp today.
Matt Vesgersian, good to see him.
There's a little tapper that is foul right near the plate.
But boy, the mayor was going at it, man. He thought he was taking ground balls or something. Quite active. And the flow of players going out there and say hi to him.
The ball's 2 strikes. Here's the next delivery. It's popped into right center field. This is an easy play for DeShields, and he will make another play out there in center.
Also, Tim Salmon was around here with his high school baseball team. He is head coach Tim Salmon, who will be working with you tomorrow. And for a few days, you'll have Mark Gubazon. As I make my way out to Panama City for the World Baseball Classic qualifier. So and, Terry, I leave you in good hands and outstanding, in better hands than me. So that's what I'm going to say. You're in great hands.
You will be missed. Who are some of who are the 4 teams in that qualifying bracket that we're going to be checking out? There's a ball hit on an easy hop to second. We'll pick that thought up when we get back. Throw by Robinson is in time, and Dyson sets down the Angels cleanly here in the fifth. So the game moving on to the sixth inning. It's 2-1 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Angels left-hander Greg Mahle is the new pitcher as he replaces Cam Bedrosian, who worked last inning in the top of the fifth. Bedrosian gave up a hit, no runs, and had a strikeout. So Mahle is the new pitcher. And we've seen him several times this spring as the lefty gets ready to work here. He's appearing in his fifth game. He has a win. He's worked 4 innings, allowing 6 hits, 2 earned runs. Mahle will face Profar, Moreland, and Ruggiano. Angels have 2 runs, 3 hits as we start the top of the 6th, and the Rangers have 1 run, 3 hits. First pitch, that's fouled back not far from our booth, and it will land right in front of us and fall down to the seats below.
Getting Terry ready for the season.
Wow.
Terry, no glove up here, so duck, because I am.
0-1 is the count. Next one on Profar. Fouled back on the right side, back to the screen. So, Jose, you're headed to the country of Panama.
Yes, beautiful country, Panama. For the WBC qualifier, it'll be Panama, Colombia, France, and Spain. France is going to be managed by Eric Gagne.
There's Mahle throwing one from the side, a sidearm delivery, and he gets Profar to take a wild swing at that one. Struck him out. Showed him a completely different arm angle there, which is what he'll do.
That's great because he's got a great teacher for that. An Angels bullpen coach, Scott Radinsky. A tricky lefty himself.
Run away.
Drop down. So looking forward to seeing, you know, who's the bench coach for the Colombia team is Orlando Cabrera.
Former Angel.
Former Angel Gold Glover.
Yeah. There's Mahle dropping down sidearm again, and there's a bunt drive fouled off by Moreland. So you have those 4 teams and what they're competing for one spot.
And you know, the last time I was in one of these qualifiers, it was also in Panama City, and that's when Brazil's team shocked the world. And Barry Larkin led that team to the main tournament by beating Panama and Colombia and Nicaragua.
There's a swing and a miss by Moreland as Mahle continues to drop down, throw sidearm here.
Yeah, you see a lot of good young players, some veterans. That's the first time I ever saw Paulo Orlando with Brazil.
And there's a pitch that catches the inside corner, and out looking is Moreland. So back-to-back strikeouts for Molly.
He's hitting spots, both sides of the plate. He's throwing strikes, and he's working fast. What a nice formula for the lefty. And once again, dropping down. This might move him up in the depth chart. Who knows? Scott Radinsky getting it done, convincing him to do that. Also got to see Yan Gomes play for Brazil before he became a steady, established big leaguer.
Here's the pitch, and a more conventional delivery of that one to Ruggiano, and he fouls it off on the left side. The World Baseball Classic will return next spring. That'll be happening during spring training 2017.
As always, the U.S. hoping for a better showing.
Yeah.
And hopefully the roster will be packed with Maine guys that will say yes to the USA.
One ball, one strike is the count. Here's the next pitch, cut and a miss. Watching Molly out there on the mound for the Angels, and he's giving some hitters some fits here in the inning. The pitch that's fouled back to the screen, and the count stays at 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And he's facing one of the best hitters against lefties that the Angels saw last year in Ruggiano. Why he continues to be a platoon force for some teams as an option.
And there's one that missed inside. The Rangers have a left-handed pitcher who we've seen in recent years by the name of Alex Claudio, who also throws sidearm, and he has just a phenomenal changeup. And here's the next pitch. This is lined down the right side. It is a foul ball out of the reach of the right fielder, Cole Calhoun. Claudio, a guy who's had some success on and off with the Rangers. Very good against left-handed batters, has struggled against right-handed hitters.
You can make that about as uncomfortable as possible against lefties, and you're going to get a job in the big leagues.
2-2. And this one is hit softly to short, fielded there by Simmons. His throw to first is in time, and Greg Motley has a good inning for the Angels. Clean top of the 6th. Bottom of the 6th is coming up. Angels leading the Rangers 2-1 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Mike Trout will be the batter, and we have a few changes we'll alert you on as far as the Texas Rangers. They have a new battery. The pitcher is Jake Diekman, and the catcher is Chris Jimenez. There's a pitch that's outside. Ryan Rua is now playing first base, and they also have Hanser Alberto at second. And we'll see if they've done anything else as far as their defensive alignment. The pitch on Trout, grounded left side, out of the reach of the diving shortstop Profar. And Mike Trout's on for the second time today. That's his first hit. He's also had a walk. Angels have the leadoff man on in the bottom of the sixth.
There's so many things that Mike Trout continues to do better, Terry. One huge improvement we saw was those fastballs up in the zone that he stopped chasing last year, cutting down on the strikeouts. And now he faces somebody that can get up to 96, 97. And obviously you can see there as Trout shortens things up and goes right through the box.
Diekman, the lefty, has a good arm. He's replacing Dyson, who had a 1-2-3 inning against the Angels in the bottom of the fifth. And there's a pitch in there for a called strike. There's a new left fielder in the game. His name is Patrick Kivlahan. So he replaces Drew Stubbs. There's one low. New catcher Jimenez picks it up. No advancement by Trout.
I like how you emphasize that. Jimenez.
That's right.
Jimenez has been around a long time now.
He has.
Didn't we see Jimenez come up with, not as a catcher, though, when he first came up? Trout, different style lead at first base.
And he takes that one for a ball to count 1 ball, no strikes.
He continues to work with Ron Renicky, Dino Ebel, the encouragement from people in the organization on trying to get better leads. Does better jumps, and what we're seeing here is a Trout that is taking a lot and also starts leaning out towards first base. That's something new for him. Different setup.
Here's the next pitch on Albert, and he hits it a mile high in the air, right side of the infield. On the dirt is the second baseman, Hanser Alberto, who just came in this inning, and he will put that one away. So Pujols an 0-for-3 day. C.J. Cron will be the next batter.
Terry, we have had our shares of stories around camp, but I'll tell you, I ran into a very special situation today. This young man, 6 years old, his name's Logan. Terry, he collects autographs. He was on the field today. He collects autographs, and he distributes the autographs to cancer patients, kids with cancer. How about that?
Wow.
And today he had a special time on the field. He was visiting with Mike Trout. Mike Trout sent a special message to some of these kids with cancer, and certainly something that really touches our hearts, and so many things that we see around camp and around baseball. But to see the 6-year-old kid take that initiative and say, I don't want to collect the autographs, I'm going to pass them on. Truly remarkable.
Yeah.
Logan, 6 years old. What a blessing.
There's a lob toss over to first. Trout dives back. Yeah, you always like to hear those stories of acts of kindness.
For sure. I mean, for any 6-year-old that says, I get Mike Trout, I want 10 Mike Trouts or 15 autographs. He goes, nope, I'm going to keep passing them on.
Here's the next delivery. It's a high fly ball into right field, not very deep at all. Coming in, making the grab on it is Mazzara, and that'll be the second out. Cron is 0-for-3. 2 outs here in the Angels 6. Angels leading it by a score of 2-1. Simmons will bat. He's had a hit today, 1-for-2.
I like to see Mike Trout here. Go, first move. Just go. Don't waste any time. Work at it. Still has not drawn the best move he can out of Diekman.
Diekman studying the sign. And here's his pitch. It's a strike on the outside corner. Mentioned Chris Jimenez, who's now catching. He's been with a lot of different teams since breaking into the big leagues in 2009 with Cleveland. He's also been with Seattle, Tampa Bay. Went back to Cleveland, now with Texas. Here's a lazy fly ball to right field. And it's caught there by Mazzara to end the inning. So a good inning for Diekman after the leadoff hit the crowd. He retires the next 3 easily, and that'll do it for the Angels here in the 6th. The 7th is next. It's still a 2-1 Angels lead on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox. A lot of changes defensively for the Angels as we move to the 7th. It's 2-1 Halos on top. There's a new Angel battery. Fernando Salas is the new pitcher, and Jet Bandy is the new catcher. And before we run down the other defensive changes for the Angels, want to remind Angel fans the 20-game flex plan offers a variety of game options to choose from, which includes opening night, premium matchups, and popular promotional giveaway nights. Visit angels.com/ticket plans today. There is a new third baseman. Cliff Pennington is there. A new shortstop, David Fletcher, is there. And in the outfield, Chad Hinshaw is in center and Quentin Berry is in right.
Double duty for Fletcher. He played the morning game today for the Angels behind Garrett Richards. He was in the starting lineup.
How about that?
He's been earning it.
So the batter here is Mazzara against Salas. Salas, pitcher number 4 of the day for the Angels, and that pitch is fouled back to our left upstairs and out of play.
What a nice job by Molly. Boy, the Angels continue to pile up some Ks. 7 Ks so far for Angels, pitching through 6 after 3 walks in the first inning for Shoemaker. 1 walk for Shoemaker in the second. It's been nothing but Ks.
This is Salas's 4th appearance. 3 scoreless innings for him so far. Here's the pitch. Low. The count is 2-2. Tomorrow, the Angels will be right back here at Tempe Diablo Stadium taking on the Cincinnati Reds. Nate Smith will go for the Angels in that game. Here's the next pitch. Fly ball lifted into center field. Hinshaw battling the sun, and he can't make the catch. The ball drops behind him. He wasn't able to find that fly ball out there. It wasn't hit that far from him at all. And stopping at second base with a double will be Mazzara. That one lost in the sunshine.
We've been talking about the tough sky here pretty much all afternoon, and how if you're not shaded enough or get the right angle, the ball will find you, and you're not going to find the ball in your glove.
So that's a tough break for Salas. It looked like it was going to be a routine play.
Jerry, that ball was elevated just enough to stay in that lane, not enough up to get out of that sun lane and allow you to at least see something dark before it came down.
So that puts the tying run at second with nobody out here in the seventh. And there's a wicked swing and a miss by Gallo. Ryan Cordell is going to run for Mazzara at second base. Here's the next pitch on Gallo. That's outside. Left-handed hitting Joey Gallo. Here's the next pitch. This is hit way up in the air to the right side. Shading the eyes over there and making the play is going to be the shortstop Fletcher on that one with a shift on. That'll go down as a pop out to the shortstop, even though it was on the right side of the infield. That's the first out.
Nice job, young man, and that ball was elevated enough to allow it to clear the sun then before you track it down.
Let's pause for stations to identify themselves here on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Terry Smith, Jose Mota, and our producer, engineer Darren Chad with you Sunday afternoon baseball as we are now in the seventh inning in this ball game. First pitch on Jimenez, who's batting for the first time today, and he takes that one for ball one. Jimenez became the personal catcher, if you will, of Cole Hamels last season, so we'll see if the Rangers continue that trend. The pitch in there, 1-1 the count.
A guy like Cole Hamels has a lot of weight. He carries a lot of weight, and if he feels more comfortable with Jimenez, so be it. Even though managers sometimes don't like to match those things up or accommodate him, but it's a matter of getting that guy on the mound as your number one to do what he does.
There's one that misses inside. 2 balls, 1 strike.
A lot of times, Terry, when it's happening, a lot of managers don't like to admit it, and they say it's pure coincidence he's catching today, and for 9 consecutive starts for this guy who's doing so well.
Here's the next delivery. That one is inside. It's 3-1. I don't know that Mike Scioscia has ever admitted something like that, but there have been certain times during certain seasons where you see a certain pairing as far as an Angel battery, and kind of wonder why isn't the other catcher behind the plate for a certain Angel pitcher? And Mike Scioscia kind of just leaves it as, well, we're just kind of looking at matchups. He's never ever said, well, we've decided he's going to be his personal catcher.
Or he'll say, I'm looking for a different type of offense, and this guy provides a better type of offense for us. But who would know better than Mike Scioscia himself, a fine catcher, as to what pitchers wanted to see behind the plate when he was active? A lot of them wanted him.
Jimenez just waited out a walk, so he's on at first, and they have 2 on with 1 out here against Salas. And Alberto is batting for the first time. And he bounces one back to Salas. Should be 2. Flip to second, relay to first. It's a double play. Nicely done by the Angels. The twin killing will end the inning. That'll go 1-4-3 to end the inning. We're headed to the bottom of the seventh. It's seventh inning stretch time as we go there. Still 2-1 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Bottom of the seventh, and a few changes for the Texas Rangers. Interesting left side of their infield right now. You have Jurickson Profar, who's been the shortstop. He's still there. And just to his right at third base is Jeremy Profar. There's a pitch that is low and away, ball one. This is Cliff Pennington batting for the first time for the Angels. He's hitting out a Soto's spot. There's a new pitcher in the ball game, Anthony Renato, right-hander. He replaces Diekman, and that pitch misses low for a ball. 2 balls, no strikes. Saw Renato a little bit last season with the Texas Rangers, and the next pitch he misses with that one. It's now 3 balls and no strikes.
And Jeremy Profar is the younger brother of Jurickson Profar, also out of Curacao.
So how about that? That's got to be a thrill for those two.
And Jeremy said, I've learned a lot from my brother, now playing to his left.
Next pitch, that's in there for a called strike. Diekman, who pitched in the bottom of the 6th against the Angels, had a scoreless inning, giving up 1 hit. He did not walk or strike out anyone. And Renato's next pitch, cut and a miss by Pennington, and the count on Cliff, it's 3-2. Here's the 3-2 payoff pitch. That misses ball 4. So Pennington has the leadoff walk. Angels have a base runner looking to pad this lead a little bit. It's 2-1 Angels here in the bottom of the 7th.
Not a lot of hits for the Angels, but pretty decent at-bats. They're not wasting at-bats. In fact, the Angels have not struck out this game. And some good arms they've seen so far here. Dyson, Diekman, Renato, and of course Holland.
The toss over to first base. Back goes Pennington. The new right fielder for the Rangers is Ryan Cordell. He came in to pinch run in the top of the inning. And they also have a new center fielder as Delino DeShields has left the ball game, and playing in center is Lewis Brinson. We talked about him a little bit earlier. Very good outfield prospect. Here's a ball bounced on the right side, and Alberto was going to cover second with a runner breaking from first to second, and the ball ends up going just by him. He had a jam on the brakes and then reached to his left. Had he not been running to cover second, that would have been probably a double play ball, but the Angels had the runner going, and a beautiful hit and run base hit for Gentry, and runners at the corners.
Options that you want on the offensive side in the bottom of the lineup with Gentry and Pennington working the walk, and why not go out there and try to get and manufacture some more. Gentry continues to make good contact.
So here's Johnny Giavotella. He's got a shot to drive in that runner at third base, Pennington.
Johnny extremely reliable for the Angels in the bottom of that lineup.
First pitch, that's in there for a called strike. Ready is Renato. Taking time. Now we'll toss over to first base, and the Angel base runner gets back over there, Gentry. As Renato works, he is pitcher number 4 of the day for the Rangers, and this spring, this is his third appearance. 4 2/3 innings coming in, 6 hits allowed, 2 earned runs. 2-1 Angels on top. Have been only 9 hits in the game, 5 for the Angels, and there's one that's hit well to left field. It's out by the wall and out of here. Johnny Giavotella, 3-run homer. That gives the Angels some breathing room as they add on, and the Angels move on top. It's now 5-1.
Johnny bolts it. Always a lot of energy, and he provides the Angels a lot in that bottom of the order. Last year, batting ninth, .322 average, .376 on-base percentage, and he had 13 go-ahead RBIs, and Johnny sits on something and does not waste it. Boy, you talk about repeating that swing that we've seen throughout the afternoon. This one, he got the results.
First home run this spring for Giavotella. Here's Jet Bandy at the plate, his first at bat, and that's a strike on the outside corner. He's hitting out of Escobar's leadoff spot. You know, went 0 for 2.
So we see the Angels get the walk with a patient at bat. Pennington, hit and run, execution, single, and now the power.
Next delivery, that's a liner into left field. That's another hit. Bandy is on. First 4 in the inning of all. Reach base safely for the Angels. Chad Hinshaw getting ready for his first at bat today. He's hitting out of Cole Calhoun's spot. Cole was 1 for 3. Here's the first pitch. That's outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Hinshaw was already assigned by the Angels to minor league camp. Gets a chance to come up here. Once again, show the skills.
Here's the next pitch on Hinshaw. That's low and outside. His spring with the Angels, 1 for 6 at the plate. So the Angels have some breathing room in this one. It was 2-1 when we entered this bottom of the 7th. It's now 5-1. No outs, a runner at first. Here's the next one from Renato, and that one is high. And he's having trouble with his location here. He's fallen behind 3-0 on Hinshaw. David Fletcher is waiting on deck. Young draft pick by the Angels in the June draft of last year, 2015 June draft. Here's the pitch on the outside corner.
So now a lot of young fans, a lot of Angels fans here get to see a lot of the Angels youngsters come up to bat.
Yeah.
Just like through the years, we've seen so many to become steady forces for the Angels in the big leagues.
Here's the next pitch. Hit pretty well into right center field. Brinson, the new center fielder, has trouble with the sun. He can't make the catch either. That one drops just beside him. And we'll see how they score that. Still no outs. Runners at first and second. Bandy only moved up a base because he figured the ball was going to be caught. You can't blame him.
Well, if Sunball, like the one that Mazara got the double on Salas, was a double, this also should be a single. You can have your glasses on, but nonetheless, you have to go out there and understand you have to use your glove. You have to shade your eyes with that glove, no matter if you have your sunglasses on or not.
So they will give Hinshaw a hit on it. And the Angels looking to add on as Fletcher will be the next batter. We'll check out the Dodge Out of Town scoreboard on this Sunday. It's brought to you by the Dodge Challenger. With an estimated 30 miles per gallon highway, this car was made for driving. Visit Dodge.com. And in the Cactus League here in Arizona today, D-backs are leading the White Sox 11-2 in the 7th. Cubs blanking the A's 3-0 in the 7th. Indians split squad, and the Royals are 3-3 in the 7th inning. Alex Gordon, a home run, his second this spring for Kansas City. Pitch on Fletcher shows signs of bunting, takes low, 1-0.
Yeah, look who's up. The Angels' mighty weapon, David Fletcher. 3 for 3 this spring
with 3 RBIs. Rest of the scores in the Cactus League. The other Indians split squad trailing Milwaukee 5-4 in the 7th. Gomes and Napoli each with their second home runs this spring for Cleveland. Reds have a 5-2 lead against Seattle. That's in the 8th. And Fletcher was showing bunt again, takes low and outside. Dodgers are up 6-0 against the Rockies in the 7th. Scott Van Slyke's third home run for the Dodgers. And in the top of the first inning, Padres and the Giants are scoreless. In our game, it's 5-1 Angels. And we are in the bottom of the 7th. Here's the next pitch. Fletcher drops down a bunt. It's a pretty good one on the third base side. Only one chance for an out. And the throw to first base is in time. The pitcher Renato off the mound, but Fletcher drops down that sacrifice. Boy, every time we have seen David Fletcher, he has executed in the role that Mike Scioscia has put him in.
And I'm glad this role came about, too, to see how he can handle the pressure of the bunts. Everybody expecting it. He does a great job. First of all, dating that ball and having the right angle so that ball is away from the pitcher's lane right at him. It was a great feel for the bunts, too.
Yeah, very fundamentally sound young player. So the infield has been brought in with runners at second and third. Nick Buss is batting. He's had some success this spring for the Angels. You look at his numbers, and he's hitting over 500, 8 for 15. 4 RBIs. He has a chance to do some damage here. 1 ball, no strikes to count on Buss.
He can drive the ball to the gap. Saw him do it a couple of days ago against the lefty Urias over at Camelback against the Dodgers.
Buss hitting out of Albert's spot. Pujols 0 for 3, and there's the pitch. That's hit well into right field. Cordell is chasing. He will make the running catch. Both runners will tag, so another run will score. A sacrifice fly for Buss. It's 6-1 Angels.
We've seen a little bit of everything here this inning. Leadoff walk, hit and run. That put runners in first and third. Powered by Johnny Giovatella. Then top of the order, Did Bandy gets it going. The sacrifice. Sunball. And now another productive out in the sac fly.
So a 4-run inning, 2 outs, a runner at third. C.J. Cron is going to bat for the 4th time in the game. He's gone 0 for 3.
C.J. Cron has accumulated a lot of at-bats here in the spring. Cron came in with 22 official at-bats. And quietly, Terry, G-Man has the most at-bats by the Angels. Any Angel, 25 coming into today.
G-Man Choi.
G-Man Choi hitting 280.
There's a pitch that is inside. 2 balls, no strikes on Crone.
G-Man's got a good chance to crack this roster here. He's got a home run, 6 RBIs. He gets his walks. G-Man's got a 400 on-base percentage.
And he's looked pretty good at first base. Pretty good fielder as well.
Yes, he has.
Might be a left-handed bat the Angels can use off the bench. Here's the next pitch. That's a liner. It's going to drop into right field off the bat of Crone. Another run scores as he singles in the runner from third base. Hinshaw. 7-1 Angels here in the bottom of the 7th.
Get Crone out of there. Get those legs to stay where they're at. Nice way to finish the day for him. RBI man produces.
So we'll have a pinch runner for the Angels. That's Gary Brown who will run for Crone. And that's also going to be a knockout blow on Ronaldo, so he does not survive an inning here. And they'll go to the pen. We have a break in the action. Pitching change. We get back here in the 7th. The Angels are up 7-1. Pitching change coming up on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Well, while we were away during the pitching change, Yohander Mendez came in, threw one pitch to Quentin Berry. He grounded the ball to short. They flipped a second for the force out, and the inning is over. But the Angels come up with 5 here in the bottom of the 7th, have a 7-1 lead as we go to the top of the 8th on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox. New pitcher for the Angels as we start the 8th is A.J. Ochter. And the Angels have made some changes on the right side of the infield as well. Here's a line shot that's hit into left field, and jumping up and making the grab is the Angels left fielder. So that's the first out. Retired is Patrick Kiblahan, who was batting for the first time. One away. Angels have Gary Brown now in center field as Brinson bats and takes that one for a strike. This is Lewis Brinson's first at bat of the ball game.
Terry, things are moving fast here. Huh? Kind of like it.
And the pitch. That one is cut on and missed. Chad Hinshaw, who is in center field, is now playing right, and Quentin Berry, who is in right field, is now playing left. Berry made that catch for the first out, and there's a swing and a foul tip that's held onto by Jet Bandy, and down quickly on strikes goes Brinson for the second out. Angels have Gregorio Petit at second. Brian Hernandez is now playing first base. So 2 quick outs. And this is Jurickson Profar, who's gone all the way. He's 0 for 3. And he hits a high pop on the right side. That one's going to push back and out of play. No balls and a strike. Angels up 7-1 here against the Rangers. We're in the top of the 8th. Ochter's pitch. That one is tipped foul. A.J. Ochter appearing in his 5th game. He's done a good job. He's had some major league experience in the past with the Minnesota Twins. Was with them for a time last season. Ochter, 4 innings coming in, allowing 4 hits, 1 run, no walks, 5 strikeouts. He's had a strikeout already in this one, retiring the first 2. And there's a pitch that missed. Ochter replacing Salas, who worked the 7th inning, and Fernando had a scoreless inning, although he did give up a hit and a walk. Here's the next pitch. That one is chopped foul right by the plate by Jurickson Profar. So 1-2 the count. Today's attendance, nice crowd, 8,808, 8808. Here's one fouled off over by the Angels dugout. Still 1-2 on Profar.
So, Terry, let's say hello to our friends at the 808 area code.
That's right. You told me we had some
plenty of viewers.
People checking in from Hawaii today, listening to the games.
Today and all spring and all throughout the season. Wow.
Here's the pitch. Cut and a miss. Good off-speed pitch. Fools Profar, and a couple of strikeouts for Ochter in a clean top of the 8th inning. Bottom of the 8th is next here in Tempe. Angels up 7-1 on Texas on the Angels Baseball Radio Network. Cliff Pennington will lead it off for the Angels here in the bottom of the 8th inning. It's 7-1 Halos. The bottom of the 8th being brought to you today by our friends at Rotolo Chevrolet in Fontana. Rotolo Chevrolet is pursuing excellence every day. Visit them at rotolo.com. That's rotolo.com. First pitch from Mendez. That's in there on Pennington. Cliff has had a walk and scored a run. That was last inning when the Angels put the 5 on the board. And here's the next pitch. Lifted in the air into shallow center field. Coming in and unable to get to that one in time is Brinson. Well, the outfielders today, at least some of them, have not gotten good reads on the baseball. The sun has certainly factored in. So Pennington has a leadoff hit. And Petit will be the next batter. This is going to be his first time up. He's hitting out at Gentry's number 8 slot. Craig Gentry went 1 for 3. 7 runs, 10 hits for the Angels today. Pitch in there for a strike on Petit. He's gone just 1 for 9 so far this spring with a run batted in. Johander Mendez delivers. And that one misses outside the count even. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Hey, Terry, we're still going to have Moto Mondays tomorrow, but you know how we're going to do Moto Mondays tomorrow? During your game. So, join the chat, as I'm going to be following the game with Terry and Tim Salmon here in the booth. I'll be watching the game with you fans, and we're going to welcome your comments, your analysis for the first 5 innings. And also, where are you watching the game from? Send a picture. And if you happen to see Terry Smith here in camp tomorrow, please send me a picture. I'd love to see that. Hashtag Moto Mondays, all on the Twitter chat on Fox Sports West.
Well, you could take it right off the TV during the pregame show.
Oh,
Tim
yeah.
Salmon will join me. So you will be where when this is going on?
I will be at home getting ready to head on to the airport. I'm going to spend those first 5 innings on the chat and watching and listening to you, enjoying your broadcast, Terry.
All right, Jose. Here's one chopped to short. This might be 2. Flip to second, relay to first in time. So Petit is doubled up, and just like that, 2 quick outs here in the Angels' 8th. So Tim Salmon will join us for our broadcast tomorrow. And then Mark Gubasa. Gooby's been checking in today. Received some text from him. I know he's excited to be heading here to the Valley. And he'll be on beginning on Tuesday on our broadcast for a number of games while Jose is in Panama for WBC qualifying games.
Very pretty soon also, Patrick O'Neill will make his rounds around here. Jeannie Zalaska, whom we welcome back to the Fox Sports family, will also be appearing.
Well, see if Patrick O'Neill can get here on Thursday for St. Patrick's Day. That would be just perfect, wouldn't it?
You put that order in, Terry.
There you go. 2-0 is the count on Brian Hernandez as he bats for the first time. Right-handed batter. And the next pitch on Hernandez, that's right in there for a strike. This is Brian Hernandez's 3rd game, but his first at bat. And he cuts at that one and misses it. It's now 2-2. Fans want to remind you, Experian, let's get serious about your credit. Go to Experian.com today. Mendez with the next pitch, and that's a called 3rd strike, and that's how the inning will come to an end. So the Angels send up only 3 here in the bottom of the 8th. We're headed to the 9th. It's 7-1 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Angels will make a pitching change, so we'll see the 6th Angel pitcher of the day. Reliever Ramon Ramirez will take over. We'll give you the numbers on Achter, who worked last inning. He retired 3 in a row with a pair of strikeouts. And as Ramon Ramirez, a non-roster pitcher who has seen considerable major league action, gets ready to work. He'll be appearing in his 4th game this spring for the Angels. 4 innings. He has not allowed any hits, but he has walked 3 and given up 1 run. And he will try and get the final 3 outs. Fans, remember MLB.TV Premium. Everything you have come to expect and more. New low price for 2016. Watch every out-of-market game of all 30 teams live in true HD on over 400 supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Jose is headed down for post-game duties. He'll visit with Angels manager Mike Scioscia. We'll have that for you right after the ball game. No balls, 1 strike. This is Ryan Rua at the plate, and he is batting for the first time today. He's hitting out a Mitch Moreland's spot, number 3 spot. And the pitch on Rua, that's outside. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Seen Ryan Rua in a Rangers uniform the last couple of seasons. This spring, having a good spring, 8 for 19 with 5 runs batted in. But he might have a uphill shot at winning a spot on their opening day roster. He was in 28 games for them a year ago, hit .221. Right-hander against right-hander. Ramirez ready. Here's the next one on Rua. And that's fouled off on the right side, backing out of play. Ramirez, we've talked about him this spring when he's been in action for the Angels. He pitched in Mexico last year. He was in the Mexican League, 29 saves. Next pitch, low and outside. Ramon Ramirez in the past, couple of tours of duty with the Giants. He's pitched for the Mets, the Orioles, Red Sox, Kansas City Royals, and the Rockies. Here's the 3-2. Lifted in the air in the right center, and that will drop in. It's going to bounce all the way out to the warning track. Just getting to it is Chad Hinshaw, the right fielder. By the time he gets the ball back towards the infield at third is Rua with a triple. Well, the Rangers fans that are here haven't had a whole lot to cheer about today. So you could hear them as that ball split the outfielders in right center. And that's only their 5th hit. James Jones will be the batter. He's going to bat for Ruggiano, who was the cleanup man in DH. James Jones going with the stirrup socks as he digs in. Here's the pitch. He thought about chasing that one and ends up holding up, and it's in there for a called strike. Jones, a very speedy left-handed hitter who's had some big league experience. He takes that one for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Saw James Jones in the past with Seattle. Angels have the infield back with a 6-run lead here in the 9th. The runner at third. The pitch, high fly ball. It's hit well into right field. Going back on that one is Hinshaw, and that ball is gone. So a 2-run pinch hit homer for Jones. That's his 2nd home run this spring. And now the game gets a little tighter. Still, the Angels have a 4-run lead at 7-3. So Ramirez has come in here in the top of the ninth inning and giving up a leadoff triple. Now a pinch hit 2-run homer. Ryan Cordell at the plate. Came in as a pinch runner back in the 7th. This is his first at bat, and he takes ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Cordell's had 12 at bats this spring with 6 hits. Here's the next pitch on the right-handed batter. That's outside. 2-0 the count. Here's Ramirez delivering, and he misses low. So after giving up the home run ball, he's missed on the first 3 here to the next batter, Cordell. 3-0 pitch in there for a called strike. Jeremy Profar, the brother of Jurickson Profar, he's waiting on deck. And when he steps up after Cordell, it'll be his first at bat today. Next pitch, fouled back. This one headed our way. It's going to land back and out of play behind the plate. So it's a full count, 3-2. And the payoff delivery, another one fouled back right behind the plate. That's going to get back to the seats and out of play. Tomorrow, the Angels in action against Cincinnati. Angels will also have a game here Tuesday at Tempe Diablo Stadium. That'll be against the Seattle Mariners. Here's the next pitch, 3-2. This is popped foul back behind the plate and playable, and making the catch on it is Jeff Bandy. Pop out to the Angels catcher, 1 away here in the 9th. And pitching matchup here tomorrow. Angels in tomorrow's ball game will send Nate Smith to the mound. And for the Cincinnati Reds, the Cuban native Raisel Iglesias will get the start. First pitch taken by Profar. This is the third baseman, Jeremy Profar, batting, and it was ball 1. This is his first at bat with Texas this spring. Here's ball 2. 2-0 the count. Here's the next pitch, and that one misses for ball 3. 3-0. Ramirez has been a little bit off here. Behind hitters, he's been tagged for a 2-run homer in the 9th, and that one's in there for a called strike. 3-1 the count. Next pitch, cut and a miss. Fooled him right there with that one. So Ramirez has battled back to run the count full. Ramirez has a good changeup, and he fooled Profar on that last one. Here's the payoff pitch. This is hit well into left center field. Gary Brown is chasing, battling the sun, has a beat on it. He'll make the catch. So 1 more out to go. Profar set down. Chris Jimenez will be the next batter. Today's ball game, Matt Shoemaker started, worked 4 innings, got off to a bit of a shaky start. He walked 3 of the first 4 batters. And when he was just 6 batters in, he had the 3 walks and a homer allowed. But after that, he really settled down. And when he left the ball game, after 4 innings, he retired 8 of the last 9 he faced. There's one cut on and missed. Bedrosian had a scoreless inning. Molly a scoreless inning. Salas and Ochterich with scoreless innings. The Rangers have struck for 2 here against Ramirez in the 9th. 0-1 the count on Jimenez. The pitch, cut and a miss. He's pulling them off speed. 0-2 the count. So the Rangers are down to their final strike in this ball game. Ramon ready, and the next pitch lined into left field, but they're waiting. Making the grab is Quentin Berry. I'm sure he knew that was the final out, but it was, and the ball game is over. 2 runs in the top of the 9th for Texas, but not enough as the Angels come away with the victory here at Tempe Diablo Stadium, beating the Rangers in the first meeting of the Cactus League between the 2 teams. Angels win it by the final of 7-3. So the Angels getting spring training record back to the 500 mark as a result of victories here the last 3 ball games. And the Angels along the way during this little 3-game winning streak in Cactus League play have been scoring some runs. 24 runs for the Angels the past 3 ball games. That's hot again today, the 7 runs, and the Angels also playing long ball in this ball game. 3-run homer by Johnny Giovitello. Also a home run today by Giovanni Soto. Let's go down. Mike Scioscia will be joining Jose Mota in just a moment. We'll get some of the Angel manager's thoughts on today's ball game here from Tempe Diablo Stadium. Jose, it's all yours, and get things going with manager Mike Scioscia.
Thanks, Eric. Mike, you got to see a couple of ball games. You love watching pitching. Evaluating number 1, Garrett Richards in the morning. What did you see?
Well, Garrett was electric through 4 innings. I got into about mid-50s as far as pitch count, which is great. Showed all his pitches and really showed a good changeup that he's developing. So it was a great outing for Garrett.
For Matt Shoemaker, obviously we saw 2 sides again today. One that started off a little rough, one that made the adjustments. How do you find that medium level for him?
Last 2 innings, he was where we've seen Shu a couple years ago. So that was exciting. Had a rough start with command, figured it out, and his stuff really looked good. So hopefully he found something in the last 2 innings.
A lot of contact, Mike, as of late. A lot of hard outs. This is all result of guys in pitching counts, contact, approach, philosophy, or what can you attribute it to?
I think guys are getting kind of, some at-bats under their feet now, and they're starting to see the ball better. They're putting the ball in play. They're running the bases great, and we're moving towards where we want to be as a team, and it's good to see the aggressiveness.
As he looked for options also from the left side, from the bullpen, Greg Molly dropping down. Tell us, how was that implemented?
He's done that his whole career, and at UCSB he always change angles. He was very effective doing that the last couple years in our organization, and yeah, he's opening up some eyes in camp. He's having a good camp.
Mike, thank you very much.
All right, Jose.
All right, Terry, you have yourself a wonderful one, amigo.
All right, thanks, Jose, and travel safely. We mentioned Jose heading to the country of Panama for some World Baseball Classic qualifying games that will be starting in just a few days. Final score here today, the Angels with a 7-3 victory against the Texas Rangers. For those of you watching on TV, Jose, along with Alex Curry, will have a lot more post-game analysis on Angels Live, and we'll be back with more for you on the radio side from Tempe as well. 7-3 Angels over the Rangers. This is the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.